During the thaw in January, I managed to get this whole thing washed. Now I only have a couple more parts to pull off of it. Kind of a bittersweet moment because now I'm gonna have to start putting everything back together, which I look forward to. But of course, that's where it starts getting expensive. Alrighty. You can see that's down paper thin. I imagine I'll just get that radius cut out and a patch welded in. Then that along the sides down here. This is all fairly good. There's a couple spots there where I'm just gonna weld a plug and then drill it back out. These corner pieces here are good. Again, I ran into a whole bunch of sign that this side of the truck has seen a fair bit of damage. You can see even this is bent here, but there's bolts bolting this on, so this whole thing's been off at one point. And in order to get that off, you have to pretty much take everything off the truck. Again, back in this corner, those are all bolts with actual lock nuts on, whereas all the factory hardware on the truck is fine thread, not lock nut, and that side is hucked in. So obviously the whole driver's side of the truck has seen some pretty severe damage at some point. And then they have these holes drilled in the center support. I imagine there might have been a wet line or something like that plugged in there at one point. This back structure here hasn't seen any damage. I'll probably end up replacing those rivet nuts, I'm not sure. And this back support is just thin aluminum, but it really hasn't seen much corrosion. If I do replace this stuff, I will end up pre-drilling all of my parts with the old ones and then replace the new ones onto the new parts instead of just stripping all of this off right away. That way I'm not worried about taking anything out of square. This side is also not nearly as bad, but it is too weak to put new rivet nuts in. So that is essentially every single huck drilled out of a 359, the cab and the bunk. As you can see, there is a whack of parts back there, all waiting to be either restored or thrown out or put back on. I left the firewall somewhat intact as it is like this, just so I can replace parts on that individually without taking it out of square as well. And also, it's hard to see there, but the roof and the windshield mask right there. This little rivet drill, absolutely indispensable. What I would use it for is to drill the pilot in the hucks, and I would finish drilling out the hucks with a high quality bit. This is what I was using. I believe it's a 9/32 Norseman. It's a very good quality bit. This one happens to be the stepped bit, which isn't necessary, but that's what I was using. They have the tri-cut on the shaft, and then this big fella here is what I used to take out the big rivet nuts, like the exhaust ones where it had rotted out on the bottom. This is a 5/8 bit. Worked great for that. Anyway, this thing indispensable. I will leave a link for it again. If anyone's looking for pointers. So the process I would use is I would use this to start pilot holes. I would use this to finish drilling the head out. And then a small punch. This is an 1/8" punch. I'd probably want to use a slightly bigger one. You can see this one's completely beat. I would not use your favorite punch for this job. You're gonna have to use this to knock the stubs of the huck, what's left in the framework, out with this. There's no shortcuts. You think you're gaining time by just using the drill bit and then ripping the panel off with a crowbar, with a pry bar, but actually, best practice, clean everything out with the punch and then pull the panel off. It'll save you a ton of time messing around. So, pilot hole, drill the head off, knock the center out with a punch. Don't take any shortcuts. You'll end up saving time in the long run. So that's officially it for the teardown side of things. It's a good feeling being down to this level. This is about as far down as this project will go. If I want to take any more of it off, I will do that when I can have other parts on the truck, just to make sure everything stays square. That will be easier to do once I have the new panels. I can use the Clecos to rig stuff up and double check my work. But as for now, this is as far as it goes. It's a fairly short list of guys who've had a 359 down to this level, I would imagine, especially a short list of guys who've done this themselves. I sometimes question my sanity in the whole thing. But all it takes is time. I don't know how many hours I have into this project. It's got to be a wild amount. But it's one of those jobs where you spend an hour at it, you're an hour closer to having a finished project. You just look at it that way. I wouldn't say that I would never do this job again, drilling out all the hucks. It's boring work, but it's not a bad job. I do appreciate everyone that has watched and the regular commenters. The views haven't been what they used to be, obviously, because this sort of video doesn't appeal to everybody. But I do appreciate the regular people that take time to comment and share. Support does mean a lot, keeps me motivated to keep working. So thanks for watching.